You know what I think the problem is with these mobile quarterbacks, and the case for resting a guy for 1 year is I think when you have a guy like Richardson, Justin Fields, and even Jalen Hurts, who sat down for his first year behind Carson Wentz, and then you have someone like Mahomes who sat down, Jordan Love, Desmond Ridder. Those guys all took a year to kind of get into it. In college, they're so used to moving outside the pocket, and then their coaches are trying to get them on the run, and that's fine in college. However, I think what sitting down for a year does, it gets you those reps in the pocket, and it really helps you get that feel for the pocket where you know how to move around, where you can kind of make those moves where Tom Brady would step up in the pocket, and these guys kind of just default to scrambling either outside the pocket too soon, or they get gun shy after they get hit a few times, and you really have to stick in the pocket to make those deliveries off your back foot like someone like Brady or Jared Goff did when they're stationary, and then they have to learn how to manipulate and move the pocket, whereas when you're a rookie, you don't necessarily have the footwork and the feel for that. So you're automatically bailing, and then you don't really have time to coach that out of them. Where if you sit someone like Richardson for a year, albeit you'll suck and you'll be worse, and he's technically a better player than someone like Gardner Minshew, you still don't have time to coach out some of those bad habits of scrambling out of the pocket too soon when you could have stepped up, you could have dodged and stayed in it. And then once you scramble out of it, you kind of pin yourself, because then you take away a part of the field there. So it's like, I get why you want to play your guy in the first year, but you can make the case that maybe sitting some of these running quarterbacks to get out some of those habits, where you see someone like Justin Fields scrambling too soon. You see someone like Anthony Richardson dropping his shoulder into someone when he should stay in the pocket for a little bit longer. I think let your offensive line gel and then suck a little bit more. Then you can have some higher draft picks at the O-line, so you have better protection, and then they can get a better feel for the quarterback position and then not rely so much on their athleticism, and then evolve into a better quarterback. And I love the skill of all of these running quarterbacks coming out, but I do think there is something to sitting a guy for a year and then them polishing just their pocket presence in practice, because that is something where it's just like anything else in life. You want to be good at lifting weights? Well, it's all about repetition, years and years of just doing the same routine over and over, and then you'll be able to put on that weight, and then you feel comfortable, putting 275 pounds on your chest and not feeling like you're going to die, as opposed to in the pocket, you feel like comfortable staying in there, stepping up. You're going to take those hits, but get used to it in practice and preseason instead of just bailing too soon.
Yeah, and especially with him, that I think kind of more of a prospect when it comes to his throwing motion. I do think that he's been better than expected.
Yeah.
But someone, you mentioned the other guys like Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts, someone who are definitely more of a prospect when it comes to throwing the football.
Yeah.
And I think Justin Fields is a prime example of this, what you're talking about, where he doesn't feel confident with his throwing motion, or maybe just doesn't feel comfortable with his reads. So he automatically goes for his running plays. And he rushed for 1,000 yards last year, so he can definitely run. However, when you're down 10, 15, 20 points, you need to throw the ball down the field. And that's your automatic read is, okay, I'm going to just take off and run. It's going to hurt your team long term. It's going to, and honestly, I think Justin Fields, year 3, he should have polished this out, but he hasn't necessarily done that yet.
You know who I blame for that too?
The coaching?
The media.
The media?
Yeah, because the media puts so much pressure on the coaches, where sometimes, like, if you sit a guy for the full year and you're bad, they're like, why isn't this guy playing, when they don't understand what the actual process is. So that's like when you're in the media and you're not a player, you don't really understand, or you're a player and you want to make your name in the media, just being off this hot take machine, like, I think this coach should be fired because they're not playing the quarterback right now. It's like, well, maybe we should just let him sit behind a year and develop. I get the Kansas City Chiefs literally punted a year on Patrick Mahomes, and they knew they weren't going to win a Super Bowl with Alex Smith. But guess what? Patrick Mahomes could have had a lot more of these moments in his first rookie year where he's bailing, scrambling in the pocket, trying to do too much, where he was able to sit behind Alex Smith and sit behind a veteran. And I like a lot what the Carolina Panthers did this year. Even though I'm not a Frank Reich fan, I respect the fact that he's like, maybe Matt Corral is a little bit better of a quarterback at this point in his career than Andy Dalton, but I'm going to have Andy Dalton there just to back him up, be a mentor, show him how to be a professional. And I guess that helps a little bit more than when you have Bryce Young starting, so he can kind of coach him there. Where it's the Colts, is Anthony Richardson going to listen to Gardner Minshew as much? maybe like half, like it'll go in and out the other ear. But I feel like having someone like a Andy Dalton there just to be a calming presence for that quarterback. We even saw a little bit with Zach Wilson where Aaron Rodgers kind of calmed him down and he feels a little bit more relaxed this year, even though he had a brutal game in Dallas.